Flexible indexing. In the simplest definition, when we think about flexible indexing, we think about an index-based approach that is what we describe as actively designed. So we're starting with the investment strategy, but then taking it to a point where it's passively managed, translating that into a newly developed index of which we eventually develop an exchange-traded fund product that we manage against. So you hear a lot of discussion about terminology in the marketplace. So terms that have become popularized are terms like smart beta or strategic beta or intelligent indexing. And you hear many of those referred to in the context of ETFs. Now we know ETFs over the last decade have enjoyed explosive growth and further adoption both by institutional and individual investors. But underneath that trend is another very powerful trend. And that's what I would describe as a trend towards more use of non-traditional indexes or indexes that are alternatively weighted. And so when you hear people talk about that trend, it really speaks to the fact that investors are really thoughtfully thinking about ways in which they can get unique exposure in their portfolios or ways to target certain investor outcomes. And they're not limiting themselves to the classifications of traditional beta or alpha or traditional index or active management. So where does flexible indexing come in? We like to say that while those strategies speak to the what, how are you getting that exposure? Flexible indexing speaks to the how. So we have an approach that starts with what are the real world goals of investors? Think of an investor like a pension fund who wants to get exposure in their portfolios to deliver against liabilities for their constituents, or an individual investor who wants to save for their retirement or save for college for their children. We move that to translating it into real investor objectives. Do you want to grow your assets? Do you want to manage certain risks? Do you want to provide liquidity in a portfolio or generate income? All those things lead up to a development of a persistent strategy, which we then translate into an investable index. Now that's one of the most distinctive parts of our process because a traditional approach might be to find an existing index and manage against that index. We carry the process all the way through to the development of the actual fund or the product and the delivery and the management of that fund in the process. Every step of the way having an empirically based approach which drives our process.